Hello humans, it's me Evermore Sol and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have a pick a card reading based on what you need to heal from in your childhood / adolescent, because I feel like that's the time frame we're going to be looking at. I do want to go ahead and say this right away. I am a reader who says what needs to be said, not what you want to hear. So if you are just looking for a reader or a channel where it's completely love and light, all positivity 24/7, this is not the channel for you. This is not the reading for you. I'm not the reader for you. With that being said, I also want to go ahead and give a trigger warning. We're going to be looking at childhood and adolescence, and I can tell you as I was shuffling, I was already getting a buttload of downloads. So I want you to just keep an open mind and, make sure you're grounded, make sure, you're taking deep breaths if need to. As we move through this reading, I also want to say that regardless of whether you've gone through and experienced trauma in your childhood and in your adolescent years or not, you can still have things you need to heal from. So there's no judgment. We're just going to jump straight into the reading with a little meditation and dive right in. For starters, we're going to start with pile number one. I also want to say if I sounded any stuffy or anything, I'm feeling slightly under the weather. I even got sent home because of I was looking pretty awful, but I got a lot of sleep and I do want to do the reading. So we're going to start with your tarot cards first before moving on to the oracle card. So let's go ahead and jump into the tarot. We have the Devil. We have Death. We have the Four of Swords in reverse. We have the Three of Cups. And we have the Three of Wands. If it sits up for me, I guess we'll see, won't we? So there's a few things I can already tell, especially as I was shuffling and seeing all these cards fly out one after another. I feel like in your childhood and in your adolescent years, you weren't really given the freedom to really, I want to say, how do I want to word this? You weren't really given the freedom to have a lot of friendships, to go out and, spend time with people, and to go out and, make friends and relax with your friends and things of that nature. I'm getting the feeling that a lot of you were really forced to stay in your rooms or stay locked in the home. I'm getting the vision of Rapunzel being trapped in her tower, really wanting to leave, wanting to explore the world, but not really getting the opportunity to. I'm also hearing express yourself and really just lean in. I'm hearing into the darker natures of yourself with the Death card and the Devil. When I say darker, I do parentheses. If anything, more so the aspects of yourself that didn't make people comfortable and also didn't fit into their perfect vision of you. I feel like you were treated more as a doll rather than a child. There were a lot of expectations placed on you. You were expected to, I'm also hearing, to just sit there, behave as you were told, and I'm also hearing to look pretty or to look handsome, like the clear-cut vision of what was expected of you to look like. I'm seeing that a lot of you honestly just felt trapped growing up. The Three of Wands, I see a lot of you really wanted to explore so much, you wanted to expand so much, but you were never given that opportunity. And I'm seeing now that you're older, there's a lot of anxiety and conflict and back and forth when you want to try something new, when you want to do something new. And it's because you never really had the freedom to try or explore anything as a child. There were always these, I'm hearing, pressures and burdens that were expected of you. And because of that, you weren't able to, have the freedom and the capacity to be like other children. And I'm hearing, go play outside, or go to the mall and hang out with your friends, or go to, I'm hearing, a school dance. Like, there's just a lot of things that you just missed out on because I'm hearing you were expected to be a caretaker to either some siblings. I'm also hearing to some elders in the family, to maybe your parent, yourself. I'm hearing if they, this is specific, if they had an addiction to either alcohol or some type of drug. and you just weren't given that opportunity to really just be and explore like children and teenagers should. So I'm going to continue with the Oracle card. So we have masculine energy. I'm also getting the feeling that a lot of you weren't able to express your emotions with the Three of Cups. I feel like a lot of you really haven't really at this point leaned into your masculine energy, and you've really shut off a lot of your feminine energy because you also, like I said, you weren't able to do that expression I'm hearing in your style, but also with your emotions as well, because it was expected of you to act a certain way and you weren't really able to, I'm hearing, complain, quotation marks, or to vent, or to really express any other emotion I'm hearing other than happiness or contentment. If you express any other emotion, I'm hearing you were also often told how people had it a lot worse than you, and that, you know, what you were doing is minor, and you know, you didn't need to go hang out with your friends, you didn't need to go do these other things because you had bigger responsibilities to take care of. And in a way, that's kind of shut off your feminine energy, which is, again, you're having a hard time exploring these new options, exploring new experiences. I'm also hearing you have a hard time also now meeting new people because you don't really know how to express your emotions in the right way. And I'm hearing that some of you may have some social anxiety and you may be a little socially awkward. We also have struggle, and it's a fish going upstream. I feel like a lot of you, most of the time, it's going back into that social awkwardness that you now have. You feel like a fish out of water. A lot of times you feel out of place, and that's because you haven't really taken the time to connect back with your feminine energy, connect back with you know, being able to express your emotions and things of that nature, because you've shut it off for essentially so long now that it's kind of like you don't even remember how to express your emotions anymore. You don't even know the proper ways to express them, the proper ways to vocalize them. And I'm hearing that's just making it really hard for you to build friendships right now. I feel like the biggest thing is, you know, we have all these things you have to heal from childhood, but the biggest blockage right now, in the area you're seeing it the most right now, is when you're trying to build friendships with other people who don't know what you've experienced. And so you come on very socially awkward or shy, or I'm hearing sometimes even a little bit rude, because again, you're not sure of when to express your emotions and also how to vocalize them. So sometimes, you know, you just come across a bit rude to people, even though you're not doing it intentionally. I'm seeing that's something else you're also going to need to work on. And we have burden, again, going back to having to be people's caretakers, having to be this perfect ideal version of a child or a teenager, because you had other responsibilities that honestly, those weren't any responsibilities that you needed to have at that age. I'm hearing the adults around you should have been taking care of that, but instead they just forced it onto you, especially again if you dealt with a caregiver or a parental figure that was addicted to alcohol or a drug. And I'm also hearing for some gambling as well. So we're going to be moving on to now, how can we, you know, build, essentially, how can we grow, how can we heal. So the first card we have is unexpected, and with this one, I'm hearing that you're gonna have to just get out of your comfort zone. You're gonna have to, you know, have that push to go to new places, meet new people. I'm also hearing read some books that may make you uncomfortable regarding how to express your emotions and how to vocalize your emotions. I feel like some of you feel like you are embarrassed because you feel like, you know, at the age you are, I'm hearing mid-20s to early 30s, at the age you are, you know, you should be able to do all these things by now. But I mean, honestly, we all go through our own different things that we have to heal from and that we have to grow from. So don't think that just because this is what you need to work on, you know, you should be embarrassed or ashamed. If anything, you should feel quite proud, especially again, we're moving to this Three of Wands. Like, Three of Wands is all about expansion. The Two of Wands, you know, you're doing that planning, you're thinking of the next step, but the Three of Wands, it's all about that expansion, getting ready to just grow. And you're in a period of expansion and growth. You just need to do some healing with these root issues before moving on to the next. We also have meditation. So I see meditation is going to help a lot, specifically with the social anxiety. Just learning how to calm and quiet your mind to help prevent you from feeling overwhelmed. I'm hearing in large crowds or around a bunch of unknown people. When I say a bunch, I mean like if there is like 3 unknown people, that's when your social anxiety kicks in. That's when you get a little bit nervous. But just learning how to calm and especially your nervous system in moments where you feel like that flight or fight response. You feel that your blood's pumping, your heart's pumping. When you feel those things, being able to just take the time to really breathe, maybe count to 10, and just realize that you're safe in the moment is going to help you a lot. And last but not least, we have nurture. And so for nurture, I'm really getting the feeling that a lot of you, again, you are amazing when it comes to that masculine energy now. You're amazing when it comes to that masculine energy now, but your feminine energy, not so much. You're going to have to really nurture your emotions. You're going to have to really dive deep into your emotion, because I feel like a lot of you are very, very quick to like shut your emotions off because you're so used to it. So say for instance, you are feeling angry, because I'm hearing that's not an emotion you were really able to express growing up. Say for instance, you're angry because I don't know, somebody, I don't know, spilled a drink on you at a restaurant. So now you're feeling angry and now you're feeling embarrassed. Some of you I'm seeing would just smile through it, not really allow yourself to feel that anger. You'll just like shut off your emotions really quickly and like stone face. Rather than doing something like that, you need to focus on more so like just admitting yourself, you're like, yeah, you know what, I am pretty upset, I'm pretty angry because that guy just spilled a drink on me. He didn't apologize. He said that I was in his way, and now not only have I been disrespected, my favorite shirt now has a wine stain on it. Allow yourself to feel that anger. Allow yourself to say, you know what, that wasn't cool. I'm not saying get in the fight. I'm not saying doing that, but allow yourself to feel that, like, just those initial emotions, because you're so used to when an initial emotion that was outside of the emotional spectrum that was allowed in your house, you're so used to just suppressing it, and we need to work away from suppressing that. So you get angry, instead of saying, you know what, I'm fine, it's okay, it's nothing, you say, you know what, I'm pretty upset, I'm not going to allow it to overwhelm me, but you know what, I am going to just allow myself to be a little bit angry at the moment. I'm going to allow myself to be a little bit frustrated at the moment. I say it at the moment because you need to allow yourself to feel these emotions. Or say for instance, you're sad because you're watching, I don't know, a movie, and your favorite character in the movie died. Instead of not crying, allow yourself to cry. And I know that may sound ridiculous, but these are taking the baby steps to just feel emotions and to express your emotions, because eventually, as you get more comfortable with these small situations of expressing and really just feeling that emotion in the moment for a while, eventually you're going to be able to express your emotions when you're able to express your emotions with people, what happens? 3 of Cups. You're able to build emotional connections with people. You're able to build friendships. You're able to actually have that connection I'm hearing that you've been longing for. Woo! So with that being said, that's my reading for my number ones. If you enjoyed, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments if it resonated, and if you want to see more, of course, make sure you subscribe and go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, because I post essentially every day on those platforms now. If you have any ideas of a pick card reading you want to see in the future, feel free to drop it down below and I'll take it into consideration. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and you have a beautiful day, a beautiful life, and I wish you nothing but the best on your healing journey. Bye. So if you chose pile number 2, this is going to be the reading for you. So we're going to be starting with your tarot cards first, and like I told number ones, which I should have just said in general, but if you hear me sounding a little bit stuffy or anything, it's because I'm under the weather. I do have some tea, and yes, I'm taking plenty of rest. I just felt called to do this reading, so I am. So let's go ahead and jump into your reading, starting with your tarot cards. So we have the Queen of Pentacles, looking as beautiful as she does, and literally every deck. We have the Ten of Cups, looking like a pretty good reading so far, I know, but just keep an open mind, stick with me. We have the Four of Wands, stick with me. Stick with me. We have the Two of Cups, again, Make sure you're staying with me. I'm serious. I know how this is looking. Make sure you're staying with me, please. We have the Six of Swords in reverse, which is another reason I said to stick with me. And we also have the Eight of Wands in reverse. So, with you all, life for the most part, on the outside looking in, life looked beautiful. You really didn't have any issues, no problems that anyone would guess. Again, from an outsider perspective, looking into your life, everything looked pretty perfect. But I'm seeing for you all, with the Six of Swords in reverse and also the Eight of Wands in reverse, I am feeling like there was immense pressure put upon you as you were growing up. I feel like there was very, very rigid expectations of you, because you were provided so much growing up. The expectations that your parents had of you were insane and honestly put so much pressure on you. A lot of you had a bunch of mental breakdowns growing up. I'm seeing that like your best friends and the people super close to you knew, and they knew why, because of this immense pressure. I'm also seeing that for some of you, I feel like, and this is probably a little random and very specific, there are also some arranged marriages that I'm hearing either were proposed to you or forced on you as a child, and you didn't go through with it, or some of you went through with it and now you're questioning if that was the best decision for you. I'm hearing some of you went through with it because, again, it was those rigid expectations. I'm hearing some of you completely broke and you're like, you know, that was the final straw. Like, what you're not going to do is control my love life at this point. But again, very, very specific message for few. But again, Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Cups, Four of Wands, Two of Cups. It was just a lot of prosperity in your household. There was a lot of emotional fulfillment in your household, not between you and your parents, but more so between you and your siblings, your aunts and uncles, things of that nature, not your grandparents either. But I'm feeling like this immense pressure was put on you, and I'm not sure if this is for everyone in this reading, but part of the immense pressure it's two things. Either your parents weren't given the opportunity that you were given growing up, so when they gave you all these opportunities, all these blessings, there's a bunch of pressure put on you, or I'm hearing that you are a first generation, I guess your first generation, if that makes any sense. Like, your parents are from another country, and the country you're currently in, like, you were first generation born. And there are, again, a lot of opportunities that you have that they just didn't. And so now they have this expectation of, we have done this much. I'm also hearing we have sacrificed this and this. So now it's your responsibility to do this. I'm hearing to get good grades, to make varsity football or volleyball. It is your responsibility to be involved in this many extracurricular activities. It is your responsibility to make sure you are part of, that you're president of whatever schools have, I forgot. Student body, there we go. You're president of the student body, or you're in choir, or you're volunteering with the elderly. You know, you were essentially ran like rugged, and I'm hearing a rigid schedule. Like, your parents will have a calendar and a daily calendar, and they would, like, from like the time you woke up to the time you're going to sleep, they would have a list of everything you were supposed to be doing at each hour of the day, like down to the bone, all the way until bedtime. And again, just immense pressure, a lot of breakdowns. I'm hearing trigger warning. For some of you, even drove you to the point of suicide, attempted suicide. And I'm seeing that a lot of you had to be put on medication because it was just too much. Your mental health became so fragile because no one is supposed to live like that. So a lot of what you need to heal from is just these, I'm hearing these ways and beliefs that were instilled of how you're supposed to live and everything. I'm seeing that some of you, I'm not wearing my watch, but some of you have a habit of keeping a watch on, because this is comic I read, and this one guy, he has a watch that he keeps on, and like he has his schedule down to the minute, and like he has alarms going off on his watch of what he needs to do at what time. And I see that's a habit for you that you need to let go, because you're controlling your life too much at the moment, and it's not helping at all. You've instilled this rigidness so much that it's really blocking you from experiencing life how life is supposed to be lived. So I see this belief, these teachings that your parents instilled in you, like they're really holding you back. They're really holding you back. Life isn't supposed to be this rigid. I'm also seeing a lot of you have some health problems coming in because of it, because now you applied this to you like overall life. So some of you overwork yourselves. You don't take care of your body like you should. Like you get sick and you're like, oh no, I'm fine, I have to keep going because I have to do this at this time on this date, and it's way too much. Like I'm feeling like this is crazy. You get migraines on a constant basis. You're not hydrating your body enough because you're ripping and running everywhere. We have forgiveness. So I see in part of like you're gonna realize how unhealthy you are. Like if this isn't a confirmation, you're gonna, after this reading, you're gonna realize like, holy crap, she was right. I'm running myself rigid. I'm running myself into my grave. You're gonna be like, why did my parents, why would they, teach me this way of living if it's not healthy? And I'm seeing a lot of you are gonna have to do a lot of forgiveness with them, because honestly, your parents were doing the best they could. Again, part of it was because they weren't given these opportunities growing up, and they just wanted to make sure you weren't missing anything. They just took it to the extreme. So I see forgiveness is going to be major. And I'm also seeing integration. And this also makes me feel like by trying to force you to fit in with whatever country you're living in right now, some of you kind of lost your way with your own culture as well. Oh, so I'm hearing like growing up, and I'm not going to say it because I know it's a derogatory term kind of, but at least in the Black community, what we will call somebody who essentially lost touch with their culture. And I can only refer to American standards because I live in America and I'm American. There's a Black person that lost touch with their culture. It was very mainstream being white. We will call them an Oreo, and I know that's not really a good word to say, but we will call them an Oreo. And that's essentially the energy I'm picking up, like you losing touch of your culture, losing touch with your culture because you were like really like, you're like, you have to fit into this box. You really had to fit into this box. And so you were called the equivalent, if you're not Black, of whatever Oreo is. Now that I've explained it, you know what I mean? Please do not use the word Oreo if you are not a black person. Do not use it, do not use it, do not use it. I'm warning you now. And if you're a Black person, be very careful of who you're calling an Oreo, because it is honestly really disrespectful. Continuing. Don't use the word Oreo there. But continuing, yeah, so I see that that's also something you're going to be needing to heal from, because a lot of you are also going to be feeling called to connect back with your culture. So we have acceptance. So yeah, I see a lot of you need to accept your culture. Not really accept the way you're living right now, but accept your culture, embrace your culture and things of that nature, because I see that you weren't really given that opportunity. I'm seeing that some of you weren't even allowed to learn your first language because they wanted your English to be perfect with no accent. So a lot of you weren't even able to learn your own culture, and I'm seeing what you need to accept is how you weren't given the opportunity to connect with your culture as a child and through your adolescent years, but you have the opportunity to now. See exclusion. So I do see you maybe spending some time away from your parents or grandparents because they don't understand why you're changing, why you're undergoing this change, and honestly they will never understand, because the way you two grew up was just completely different. How you will never understand why they put so much pressure on you. They won't understand why you're breaking away from the conformity that they placed upon you. So I do see you taking some time to just be away again from your parents or your grandparents to really find your own self. And last but not least, we have well-being. So we're moving into this place of focusing more on our well-being, taking care of our mental health, going to therapy, because a lot of you have a bunch of control issues and it's popping up in your love life and in your friendships, and it's not helping. So yeah, that is how you're going to be, this is what you need to heal from. This is how you're going to be recovering from it. So with that being said, this was the reading for my number 2s If you enjoy, make sure you like and comment. If it resonates, please let me know down below, and it helps me when I see that my readings are accurate and it's resonating with all of you. It helps me like understand and know that these are actually helping you grow. Also want to say, if you do want to see more, make sure you subscribe to my channel and check me out over on Instagram and TikTok, because I post daily over there. And I want to thank you so much for watching. I want to wish you a beautiful day, a blessed life, and the best on your healing journey. Bye. So if you chose pile number 3, this is going to be the reading for you. And we're going to start with your tarot cards first. One moment. There we go. So for you, we have the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Wands, the Seven of Swords, my apologies. We have the Moon. You also have a lot of tarot cards. We have the Empress. We have Strength, the King of Cups, and the Magician. So I know this is a lot of cards, but honestly, as I was shuffling, the message came through so clearly. A lot of you, especially, let me just rearrange this a little bit, especially with the Seven of Swords. To me, the Seven of Swords, the Empress, the Magician, and Strength, they're all speaking to me how either, here's the thing, either a parental figure left you because there was a deep sense of betrayal in your childhood. Either a parental figure left you, or you were given away, like you were adopted by a family, or I'm seeing you were just completely abandoned. And I'm seeing that a lot of you had to really like fend for yourselves. With the Empress and the Magician and the Moon, I'm seeing that a lot of you had to grow up really fast. You had to make decisions on your own to figure out what was best for you. And a lot of you with the Empress, usually that's, you know, this amazing card, but I feel like what it's conveying to me is a lot of you had to learn how to take care of yourselves. You weren't really able to depend on a lot of people to have your best interest in mind. With the Magician, a lot of you had to like look at the tools you had around you to figure out how to make things work in your favor, how to make sure you were safe, how to make sure, I'm hearing, you were fed, how to make sure you were clothed, how to make sure you had like a home to live in. Because I'm seeing that for some of you, you didn't always have a home to live in all the time. Some of you are also on the streets. So with you all, there's just a lot of like instability growing up in regards to security, financially, with the home, and also I'm hearing just with your safety as well, because for a lot of you, it was a lot of times that you weren't in safe situations. I'm hearing also that a lot of you have and I'm just going to go ahead with these cards first. There's so much going on with this group. I'll just take it as it comes. We also have new beginnings, ancient wisdom, and discernment. So a lot of you had to use your spirit of discernment to know who you could trust and who you couldn't, especially for those of you who you grew up on the streets. Again, no shame in this reading, but a lot of you, you know, you didn't have a lot of safety and security growing up, and I'm just going to keep it real like that. A lot of you had to really like figure out at an early age like telltale signs of when people was lying to you, telltale signs of when someone was trying to take advantage of you, and then telltale signs of when people were also out to get you. There's just, for this group, there's just so much, like, you weren't safe growing up. Like, there was just a lot of times where you just weren't safe. Even if you had a parental figure, I'm seeing that a lot of you only had one, and they weren't able to watch you all the time because they had to go to work to provide for you. And sometimes you were left in the care of other people who do not have the best intentions and who wanted to take advantage of you and use you in a plethora of ways that we're not going to go into detail about. Trigger warning, obviously, because if you're watching this, you know what I'm referring to. But it was just a rough time, and I'm seeing that a lot of you left home when you were around 16, 17, if not sooner, to get away from environments. Even if you were with a parental figure, I'm seeing that you left home like as soon as you turned 17 or 18 to get out of that environment, to get a new beginning, because a lot of you just knew like you could not keep living the way you were living. Like, it was just really, really messing with your mind, with your head. And honestly, with, of course, your physical body, for those of you, trigger warning, who were experiencing physical and sexual abuse with those who should have protected you at that time. We have triggers. The triggers for you all is in this group. Look, y'all need to go to therapy. If you haven't already, you need to go to therapy. Therapy helps a lot, especially with how deep your triggers and your trauma is regarding just instability, insecurity, and not being safe. Your triggers, I'm hearing, are very closed, tight spaces. Like you're claustrophobic for numerous reasons. I'm hearing dark alleyways, and I'm also hearing that you can't be touched without permission. If someone touched you without permission, you'll get flashbacks with being touched without permission, being in dark alleyways, and also being in tight spaces where you don't really have a lot of room to move. And I'm just feeling like all this I'm just feeling like this crawling sensation on my skin. Like you're really, the only way you're going to be able to overcome all of this is to go to therapy, finding a therapist that is willing to help you. I do see a lot of you are going to be making progress with going to therapy, because you're going to be working with someone who can help you with your trauma, work through your trauma, give you a safe space to talk about it, and to also express your emotions regarding it. I would not, for this group, I'll be honest, I would not recommend trying to go on a healing journey on your own with something like this. I've had experience, like some things that this group has experienced, and certain things you really do need like somebody who's trained to walk you through these steps in order to heal from them. We also have positive minded people. So with this group, I feel like part of your progress also comes from is, even though you had a really rough time growing up, the people that you surround yourself with now want nothing for the best for you, and you've been doing your best to, try to stay positive, try to look at like the bright side of things now. But I do see that sometimes, again, it's those triggers. Like, I don't see you guys having any explosive anger or anything of that nature. There are just certain triggers that when they happen, they can take you out, because you'll get like taken back to that time of when all these things were happening. So for you all, the biggest thing is just working through your triggers, because they are, I'm hearing, kind of frequent, because these are things that can happen a lot. Seeing a dark alleyway, or I'm hearing being in a dark corner, not being able to see around you, so not knowing what's coming to you. Being in tight spaces, maybe not the most common thing, but still possible. You want to make sure you're still able to function if you were in a tight space. And unfortunately, it is common, at least I've seen it quite a bit, where people will touch you without permission. And we just want to make sure that you are operating and moving in the best way possible as you move through life, with nothing triggering you and giving you all those flashbacks, because I do see that happens quite a bit, and I've experienced that myself, where certain triggers just give you like immediate flashbacks, and next thing you know, you're this shaking, bawling, crying mess. And that just shows how certain things, like, it's really rooted in there. And just being able to take a look at these triggers and work through them, even if you can't heal from them completely, just not getting to that like mental breakdown point, is going to help you a lot moving forward. So with that being said, this was my reading for my number 3s. I don't know if you enjoyed, because yours was probably the heaviest out of all of them, but if it did resonate, and if you feel comfortable, please comment down below letting me know it resonated, let me know that it helps, because that helps me knowing that my messages are helping you. And if you do want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and you have a beautiful day and a blessed life. Bye.